What is going on, everyone? Badger here. Truth and reconciliation. No, not the Covenant battle fleet or one of the better levels in Halo. I am talking about what needs to happen right now in the country. Truth and reconciliation. And we're starting to see a lot of truth coming out. A lot of people all of a sudden acknowledging basic reality. And I don't just mean like biological reality, I mean just the reality of the world and how things used to work. And I guess how they're going to work again. And thank God that they do. And we've always said that one of the peoples or the people that need to do it's fun when we content creators and the nerdrotics and all that do it, but it needs to be people in the industry to start making these changes. You need to police your own. And well, we're starting to see that. And we see the article going around that woke is disco, written by a former exec. I think people are maybe missing the point of it, because the actual point of the article is not to liken it to the sense that like, oh, disco came and it was popular for a second, but not really. And then it went away. Yeah, that's part of it. But really, it's explaining the conditions that was able to happen in. And if we're not careful, disco will come back, woke will come back. Those conditions will happen again. But let's talk about those conditions. And that is really where they just ignore half of the country and just focus on New York, California, and the progressive areas. And then everyone else just sort of goes along with it until they don't. So this all comes from Roy Price. He was Me Too'd and then exonerated. A lot of the other ones, a lot of people were finding out were Me Too'd simply to get them out because they were straight and white. Shocker, I know. So this was to his Substack, and of course titled "Woke is the New Disco." But really, I think it's the point of that we let the elites broadcast their message and their ideology for far too long. And as they say here, living in an America that exists mainly in Hollywood HR departments, Columbia's faculty lounges, and at CNN and MSNBC and all those legacy media things, and Blue Sky Social and Reddit and all these little echo chambers that were convinced that Kamala Harris was going to win and that every single person that votes for Trump is a literal Nazi. I'm tired of saying Yahtzee. They compare us to Nazis. So we're there. You go. That's what we've been dealt with for 4 years, and this is the big one. And this is, I know people like to point out the gender stuff in kids. And to be fair, and gas prices and eggs and all that stuff, there's a large portion of why the Democrats lost. But the bigger one is that you alienated half of the audience, and you did it outside of politics before you did it into politics, starting with anyone that doesn't like Rey Skywalker just hates women. Anyone that doesn't like Captain Marvel, oh, you hate women and you're threatened. Bah, bah, bah. Pop culture called us Nazis before they started liking it to Trump supporters, and that was the point, was to get everyone to hate us. Look at this study. Studios and elites that run them have chosen to disdain and ignore many Americans, including half the country's votes, 40% of Americans who own guns. That should be a higher statistic. 40% who attend church monthly, and 74% who live outside the West Coast, New York, or New England. Add to this roughly 50% of Americans who are male, who we heard for years they went around saying male and pale is stale. They turned, thank you, Chris Gore, pointing out that they turned male-centered brands that already had female fans but made the money, Marvel and Star Wars, into girl brands that now make nothing, a pittance of what they were. They've turned them into television shows, basically, instead of big blockbuster movies. I pointed out the contempt for the audience. We all felt it. We all knew it. Why did everyone like Deadpool and Wolverine? Was it the best story ever told? No. But it had two characters that liked each other, and the writing didn't make it feel like it fucking hated your existence, which is what, hi She-Hulk, hi all the other things where it's like literally you could tell they hate you. Wokeness, both in politics and entertainment, carries within it a strong and illicit element of hostility, particularly toward white people and men. While this approach initially gained compliance through social pressure and corporate acquiescence a few years ago, such accommodations were, of course, temporary. And this goes, some people just went along with it, and some people, the Vivek Ramaswamis, who were told to put black squares in your fucking profile picture for George Floyd. He's like, we're a pharmaceutical company. Why would we do that? Which then led him down the path of the Woke Inc., Woke Incorporated, and the business side of it, and the catering to environmental social governance scores to get diversity, equity, and inclusion up, and money from it's a whole fucking thing. It is a business, and people on our end just went along with it. I mean, obviously, a lot of us rallied against it. But I mean, on our end, I mean, like the populace at large, we just win a while because, weaponized compassion. Among the people and in courtrooms by 2024, wokeness has become toxic to a large part of the audience. It is embarrassingly widely resented relic of the past, by the past. Like it just happened. And the people need to see that acknowledged by candidates. They, especially men, need to see wokeness disavowed. Yeah. And we started talked about it yesterday with Dante and for Verbal Riot and Derek Anderson, the DA, basically like, man, once we elected Barack Obama twice and gay marriage was a thing, we were done. We should have stopped. That was about all the progress we were realistically going to get for humanity. Everyone had rights. Everyone could get married. We were pretty much peaked there. But you can't be a progressive movement if you have nowhere to progress to. So you got to keep moving that goalpost. Him pointing out Hollywood having a difficult time, partly because, like Kamala Harris, it has been denying the reality of the audience. What have we been saying? Who do they keep trying to make video games for, and television for, and movies for?
For a modern gaming audience.
There is no modern gaming audience, and there is no modern fucking audience, because the modern audience they think is the one that wants this.
The message.
But no such audience exists beyond the ones that watched Acolyte and that live in California. And even them, you're starting seeing articles about Dragon Age the Veilguard from the one friend that's too woke. This game is too woke. Like you've gone too far. You played your hand too far. It's time to acknowledge basic reality, which they have not been doing for some time. It's time to focus on doing well, making great shows, hiring the best people, and responding to customers, meeting customers where they are, giving the people what they want, because making customers the enemy of your industry is never viable. No fucking shit, Sherlock. And that's the point. A basic, dumb, obvious statement like that is now touted as, oh, look, he's saying the thing. People in these investment companies and in the writers' rooms should have been saying the thing then. When someone brought up, let's have them chant the power of one, the power of two, the power of many. Someone in the writers' ones said, no, that's dumb. Let's not do that. But they were captured by ideology, captured by toxic positivity, where you're not even allowed. We all need to be saying what this guy is saying, and we need to be saying it for a good long time. We can't let it go away, because it'll just go off into its blue sky social and reform in its disgusting little cultural Marxism, socialist chrysalis, and it'll pop back out even more woke and rainbow colored than before. And God help us then, because we'll all be tired in another 10 years. So we got to stop it now, make sure it's gone for a significant amount of time. He said, at this point, it is not enough to be woke. One must be anti-woke. Yeah, not enough to be anti-racist. You have to be actively anti-racist. But this is the thing. We can't let them slip in one little affront anytime. And when people goes, well, what's the matter? But the matter is because it starts with one little thing, and before you know it, everything is what they want. So have some standards. He noted it means, fact-based, level-headed judgment now. The super woke may have to leave, or perhaps some can walk it back. But Hollywood could also start by confronting the original sin of this recent era by distinguishing between those excluded for legitimate reasons and those purged in a feral moment of vindictive frenzy to capture power. I.e., it's time to hire back John Lasseter, who, thank you, Alan Ng, over there at Film Threat. We found out that Jennifer Lee and her little cohorts used Me Too to get rid of a lot of people there unjustly because they were in power and straight and white, and then they filled them with their little goon squad. And well, we saw the results of that in the movie industry. It didn't go well. And yeah, this just goes on to point out again that we made a horrible decision to alienate the huge fans of this. Obviously, we've said this time and time again, but they went to an audience that wasn't there, and then they alienated all the loyal ones, and they ended up with none of them for this.
Fucking current day Californian shit! Because that's all we fucking know! Because we're boring! We're so fucking boring!
And as pointed out, this is what's currently going on in Dungeons and Dragons, where they're trying to, Kyle or Gary Gygax and all the other ones are being attacked about, straight and white and toxic and all the things. And this is just what they do. The video games world, of course, they hate white people. Yeah, we've talked about it. It's an ever-present thing where, based solely on luck or accident of birth and skin color, we are now blamed for the world's problems. it's time to stop. So now is the time for everyone to speak up with their adult voices. And remember when people used to look at the blue-haired weirdos and septum rings and go, they're going to go in the real world and it's going to hit them in the end. Well, it didn't. It bowed over and let them do whatever they wanted. Now it is time to make that true again. That when these dumb ideologies and petulant little children come out and rally and say actual racist and sexist, homophobic, misandric shit, we got to call them out. We got to stop accepting it. But you let me know. You want to keep doing it, or are we ready to reject it finally? Because I'm ready for the timeline to correct. Either way, make sure to like, share, and sub. If you have done that, thank you. If you're going to do that, thank you.
Well, bye.